Assalamualaikum and hello everyone. In this session, we'll be exploring Chapter 2, Reading for Input. This chapter helps us understand how reading can provide the knowledge and resources we need for our writing. I'll guide you through the key concepts, but remember, your textbook contains the full details and explanations, so make sure you read pages 17 to 26 carefully. This chapter covers several important areas: reading academic texts, finding suitable sources, searching the internet, evaluating sources, and using library databases. Let's go through each briefly. Reading for input is all about how we interact with text to gather information that will support our own thinking and writing. It's not just about understanding, it's about engaging critically, selecting what's useful, and shaping it into knowledge that we can use in our writing. Now that we understand the big picture, let's look at the main type of sources you'll be dealing with, which is academic texts. Academic texts are very different from casual reading like blogs, social media, or magazines. These are materials written by experts like researchers, lecturers, professionals, and they usually go through a review process. This makes them more reliable. So, academic texts like journal articles, books, and research papers are high quality sources of knowledge. They present theories, arguments, and analysis from experts. When you read them, you are not just learning facts, you are learning how scholars think, argue, and present ideas. This is why academic texts are central to reading for input. They provide the most credible foundation for your own academic work. So, where do we actually find this kind of texts? Let's move on to suitable sources. Not all sources are equally useful. Suitable sources are those that are reliable, relevant, and credible. Finding credible sources is important because weak sources, for example, outdated blogs or anonymous websites, can make your argument less credible. Good sources show that you've done proper research. You can find reputable sources in journals, textbooks, and credible websites. Libraries and databases are especially important as they give you access to materials that have been reviewed and validated. Your textbook gives detailed steps on identifying suitable sources. Please read page 19 in your textbook to know in detail about tips for finding academic texts, types of texts, and resources available in libraries and websites. Once you know where to look, the next step is how to search effectively. Of course, nowadays one of the first places we look is online. So let's talk about searching the internet. The internet is often the first place we go. Searching online sounds simple. Just type something into Google, right? But the problem is, you'll often get millions of results. With so much information, the challenge is finding reliable material. This is where searching skills come in. By using the right keywords, phrases, and filters, you can narrow down results to what's really useful. It's not just about searching, it's about searching smart. For example, instead of typing a broad phrase like climate change, you could type climate change effects on agriculture in Malaysia. That instantly gives you a more focused result. The book provides some examples of this, which I want you to look at more closely. Now, searching is one thing, but how do you make sure that the results you get are worth trusting? You can't just take any information from any website. Why? Because the internet is full of information, but not all of it is accurate. If you rely on poor sources, your assignment loses strength and credibility. Think of it this way: would you trust medical advice from a TikTok video or from a journal article written by doctors? Therefore, evaluation is absolutely important. You need to check the author's background, the accuracy of the information, and the publication date. In your textbook, you'll find criteria for evaluating sources, but the main idea is ask who wrote it, whether it's current, and whether it's backed by evidence. Please read further in your textbook. Now, while the internet is useful, there's another place where quality is almost guaranteed: the library database. Library databases give you access to peer reviewed and high quality materials that you can trust. Unlike the open internet, these sources go through strict academic checks. Why is this important? Because when you use them, you are not just gathering information, you are ensuring your work meets academic standards. Think of this as a shortcut. Instead of sifting through hundreds of questionable sites, you start with materials that are already reliable. But not all databases are the same. Let's take a quick look at the types. There are different databases for different needs. Some cover multiple subjects, some focus on one area, and some even specialize in newspapers or reports. Your textbook gives examples you can explore, but the key point here is whatever your topic, there's probably a database that can help you. Of course, databases work a little differently than Google. That's why you need to know some strategies for using them effectively. When it comes to using library databases effectively, there are strategies that can make your search faster and more precise. But I won't go through all those steps here because Chapter 2 of your textbook already provides detailed guidance, including how to use keywords, filters, and advanced tools. So make sure you read that section carefully and try out the tips to yourself when you explore the databases. Now that we've gone through the key ideas, let's bring everything together with a quick recap. To sum up, reading for input means actively engaging with text so you can use them in your assignments and research. You'll need to find suitable sources, making sure they are reliable and relevant. The internet is a good starting point, but remember to evaluate your sources carefully. Finally, library databases give you access to peer reviewed, high quality resources which strengthen your academic work. Remember, I've only given you an overview here. The detailed strategies, examples, and tips are all in your textbook. So make sure to read Chapter 2 from page 17 to 26. That's it for today's session. Thank you for watching.